At the top, the return of eight-liners or other kinds of games of chance in Nueces County. Several game rooms are up and running, and we confirmed at least one of them is paying out cash money to customers. Rudy Trevino reports law officers are aware of the operations, but local prosecutors are telling us tonight that spending time and effort trying to stop illegal gambling is really not a top priority for them right now. It is our top story tonight. Rudy?
Well, Joe, the Nueces County District Attorney's Office told 3 News no law enforcement agency, not CCPD, not the Sheriff's Office, DPS, or any other agency has presented its office with any cases of illegal gambling activity. And if they do, prosecuting eight-liner or gambling operations are not a top priority.
They're not a priority for the office, just to be succinct with you. That isn't to say our office is going to give a pass on anybody that we have evidence is committing wrongdoing. But in the hierarchy of cases, they're not a huge priority. And that's because our primary focus is, prosecuting cases where there are violent offenders and where people have been victims of violent crime.
One of the places that's been up and running for several months now is Theo's, a combination billiards parlor and now eight-liner business. The signs clearly show they're up and running. A gambling-themed van sits out on Weber advertising the business. 3 News spoke with several patrons of Theo's, and we were told there are cash payouts being made, some as high as $1,000, with a daily maximum per person of $500. In the past few years, dozens of eight-liner businesses have been shut down and operators prosecuted because they violated Texas law prohibiting gambling machines, such as eight-liners. Today, the Corpus Christi Police Department made this statement.
What I can say is we are aware of these type of businesses in the area, and we are investigating and we are researching the legality of them at this point.
Our primary focus is and will continue to be violent offense and the prosecution of those violent offenses.
Nueces County Sheriff Jim Kalin tells 3 News his office is aware of several other eight-liner operations in the outlying areas that are also up and running. He says there is an investigation underway right now. Joe?
Okay, Rudy, we'll keep watching that.